Hi, guys.
Oh, hang on. Oh, we lost them. No. There they are.
Hi, guys. We're not going nowhere. We promise.
It's a cluster F.
Oh.
I take no responsibility for this.
We're back.
I don't usually do this part of it, Eric. I apologize. I apologize for the unprofessionalism of this setup
The
here.
crew wasn't here today. Didn't have the makeup person either.
Yep, no makeup person.
I still had mine.
There we go.
Hey, yeah, yeah.
Hey, Brady, what's up?
Yo, yo, yo.
Brady's back. Brady's on our live streams a lot. All right, cool. We should be good. So. Yeah.
You gonna watch the commenters or should I?
I will do it. That is fine. And so we basically, when I welcome everyone to the show, we just go down the line saying who we are. And then I jump in and lead everyone from there. Okay, Eric?
Awesome. Can do that.
All right. So, with that being said, hey everyone, welcome to the Horror Show podcast / live stream. I'm Cecil Laird.
I mean, Fuego here, and that's not gonna work. Yeah.
And you are?
I'm Eric Addison from the Death Twitch Horror Review. What's up,
Yes, exactly. We have a new guest here on the Horror Show, you guys, and like we always like to do whenever we have a new guest on the podcast, we like to go into the horror history of our new guest. Now, luckily, this guest has a lot of horror knowledge to draw on, so much so that, as he mentioned, he has his own channel. And luckily enough, we were able to wrangle him onto the podcast today for the first time because, frankly, we just got access to him locally here. So we got to have a little bit of fun earlier. We were all at the Game On Expo. And after that, he agreed to come on back here and join us for this live stream podcast where we can introduce him to you guys. We're introducing people to a lot of YouTubers this weekend because I just, excuse me, earlier today put up my interview with Andre Meadows from Black Nerd Comedy, which is an amazingly awesome and large YouTube channel. So that was great. And the Death Twitch here is actually a guy who I started watching a little while back, probably about a year and a half ago. And I watch him kind of sporadically here and there because you guys know how busy I am with this show.
All about that. When you run a channel, you don't always have time to be checking out everybody's content.
Exactly, especially, yeah, you do, but especially when they're full-length feature episodes, you know, those tend to be a little bit tougher to stay up on.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But yeah, so we're excited to have him here and join in on the fun. And you guys, I will be checking the comments here, and you guys can ask questions of us and stuff, whether it be him or Fuego or myself, and we'll do our best to interact. But as I said, in the meantime, we're going to be getting his horror history. So that being said, Eric, where we always like to start is, what was your first experience that you can recall with the horror genre?
Let me just start by saying thank you to you guys for being so hospitable and inviting me on the show and into your headquarters here. Yeah, so my horror history is that, I don't know, I've been watching it since I was as young as I can remember. There was never any kind of, by the way, I'm a child of the 80s, so I grew up during that time, and that's my favorite. Yeah, exactly. That's
83.
I was 79. And that's my favorite genre right there. I go from 80s on back. But yeah, like, there was no, like, censorship in my house. I was just able to watch whatever was on HBO and Cinemax.
I envy you so much.
It was pretty great. I won't lie. But really, the start of it is, here's the story that I'm told is that, for some reason, my family went to see Halloween 2 in 1981, and I was about 2 or 2.5, and they took me with them. So I was a little baby, basically. But I have these vague memories of seeing Michael Myers walk through dark hallways, and so I consider that my story.
Okay.
Because I guess that's probably the birth of my love for Michael and Halloween, right there.
It's interesting because mine was not dissimilar. Where my first exposure to horror was walking in on my. God, I always phrase it this way, and it always sounds terrible. Walking into my parents' room while they were watching what ended up being the climactic scene of Jaws 2.
Okay.
And I was like, there's a shark like about to attack a dude in a dinghy and he's holding on. Whoa, it just electrocuted. What is this? You know, and like
Awesome.
from then on, it was just, oh my god. So
Jaws
okay,
for me as well,
yeah.
you know. Yeah, although that was a National Geographic video where we were like, you know, they're like, oh, I was learning about sharks, and then they were talking about how they became pop culturally feared, and they showed the scene where the boy is eaten on the raft at the very beginning of the movie. It's like the second kill in there, and I saw that when I was maybe 4 or 5, because my parents, Reformed Baptist, I was not allowed to watch horror movies, even though my dad would sneak some in every now and again. Yeah, but Jaws up me up too, man. So, my dad tried.
So
they would watch it and try and like exclude you, huh? How did
Well,
that make you feel?
my mom didn't like it, but my dad would sneak me out every now and again. He's watching Fright Night or Aliens or something like that. Yeah. But
When did you? Sorry, I don't mean to hijack this. I was curious.
No.
When did you get the freedom to actually start exploring the horror genre?
Well, I mean, slowly but surely. When I was watching more like PG and PG-13 horror and TV horror, I think was probably the first one. I was watching like late '80s, early '90s, some of the Stephen King adaptations like It and The Stand and stuff like that. Because TV they didn't really regulate as much. It was R-rated films and whatnot. But once I got my own Superstar Video membership and started renting under the parents' name, and they didn't really care there. I was like 12 renting R-rated movies, and I'm like,
Those were the days, right?
yes, they were.
that was fun for me too. Yeah. Now, Eric. So if Halloween was your first, now that you actually when you got into it like on purpose, where did you start? Did you start with Michael Myers since that's kind of what you got exposed to, or did you go on to other stuff? And did it track like do you like slasher movies the most, or did it just introduce you to other stuff and you're like, no, now I like this better than the slasher stuff?
Kind of hard to track that a little bit because it was just constant watching of Friday the 13th, Halloween's, and whatever was playing, just whatever it would play. I'd sit there and watch it as a little kid, from as young as I can remember. Luckily for me. But I guess it was Halloween, and because Michael just was like so fascinating to me because I was so scared of him, but I also loved him.
Yeah.
And then it was the Friday the 13th were a big deal because there was one almost every year in the 80s. So it was always like a new one to watch and check out. And just being a little kid, I remember being 4 maybe and standing in front of the TV and watching how Friday 2 and the intro of that with the little kid doing the itsy bitsy spider thing. Like I do that too. And I was like, oh, is he gonna kill this little kid? Yeah. So, but yeah, as far as like when people ask, can you pinpoint a movie? Like I can't. At this point, I watched so many as a kid that it really did all blur together. But the big ones would be, you know, your top 3 '80s, Halloween's, Fridays, and then the Nightmares when those started up.
Yeah, man, Nightmares went later too.
Yeah, they went in the game a little later than the other franchises, but they're still big and they're still pretty great.
He's still my favorite, actually. Freddy is my favorite over Michael and Jason because I like the charisma and not when they got too schlocky with it later on, but I mean, like 3 and 4 were pretty much about as good as it got for me. I think 4 is really underrated personally. It's got my favorite kill in the series with the waterbed where kid gets pulled in there and drowned, and then when they find
drowned by a naked chick.
Remember waterbeds?
Yes, I know. Another product of the '80s that are gone.
Yeah, and hottie calendars too. I don't see many of those, but then again, I'm not looking for them anymore. Okay, so then let's stick with what you appreciate in the horror genre, because obviously the genre evolved. Tastes evolve over time. Do you still lean mostly to slashers, or let's go through the subgenres for you. We'll hit the supernatural, right? We'll hit the ghostly flicks. We'll hit the torture porns. We'll hit
our favorite. You know which one?
The monsters, creatures, of course. Let's go through them. So let's start with slashers. Then, do you still enjoy a good slasher? They don't make them that much anymore.
No, the slasher genre is my favorite, and it seems to be predominantly a lot of people's favorite in the horror community. And I think it goes back to the fact that even though they do become monsters or boogeymen, usually it's in the beginning they're human beings, and that's what's scary about it to me. Anybody can be a slasher, and that's cool because that's kind of grounded. I really love slashers, but I stick to like the 80s and the 70s. Like you said, it's a genre that couldn't keep the steam going. It's not around as much. I still try and catch them, but it's just few and far between, and often they don't have anything original to offer anymore.
Did you ever give Hatchet a try?
Yeah, I've watched all the Hatchet movies.
Do you like that one?
Okay.
Because those are so much homages that you can't get mad at it for purposely being like the older ones. You know,
I went into it and I didn't realize it was such a comedy.
Yeah.
And so I have no, like, I really love horror comedies, so I don't have a problem with that. But I guess I went in feeling like I'm going to see a hardcore slasher. And then
There's some
the
hardcore
gore
kills in that one, but
I feel like it's overblown to the point of it being cartoonish.
Yeah.
And that takes me out a little bit.
Yeah, that part.
That is a great kill. That one, that's probably what got me to watch that movie. I was interested, but then when I saw a clip of that, I was like, oh man, I gotta see
you're
it.
like, holy God. It's
And
like
I've
old
checked
woman
out-
too, he does it too.
Oh,
It's
I know,
like
right?
shit.
And the spin around, the way they do it, you just gotta respect that. I love a good practical effect.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like those movies. I like the first and the third one, but it was a weird situation of going in with the wrong expectations.
Yeah. Okay, that's
so,
fair.
So then I have to chime in. Then, did you not like slashers when they got meta in like the mid to late '90s with the screams, and one that I think is underrated, which is Urban Legend? I love that movie. What's your thoughts on how the genre tried to adapt and see a resurgence?
Reinvent itself, sort of.
So, I like Scream, and I'm not the biggest on all of the sequels because I feel like it does kind of become too meta. Turns in on itself a bit too much.
2 for me was my favorite,
But
but that was where they got
it has
overblownly meta with all the sequelisms
Sure.
and whatnot.
Everything about like it was
All right,
the
guys.
first one. That
Sorry,
was
we got to restart. It's been jumping the whole time.
No.
All right.
What? I was doing great.
I know you were too. Well, we got it on podcast, so that's the other good thing.
So hi, podcast audience. We're still talking.